Hello, everybody. And finally, it's time for me giving feedback to your 52 assignments on June. It's been a while since June, and it's already August, halfway through, almost the end part of August. I'm really sorry that this has gone this way, but finally it's here. And yeah, we have 4 weeks of assignments. So we got 40 images that I will show you, and then of course showing the points and all that. Hi, it's Peter here, and let's get right into the business. In June, there were 58 photographers, a little less than before, and I can understand because of the part that I have failed. You've done your share of images, and I have failed with these feedback videos, and I can understand that might make you feel that you don't want to send images or some other things, or maybe you were just busy during summer and will be keeping up the photography in the fall, I hope. And 219 images, and the most popular week was week 24, which I recall was black and white. And yeah, black and white is always something that gets you guys going, and I will talk about a little bit of those images, of course, later. And 26 different photographers got points, so got their image into top 10. So pretty good amount. And let's get right into the business. And I've pre-recorded this as I would do if this was a live stream. So that's why it is a little bit different format than my regular content, because this is a faster and better way to do it. And it is a little bit closer to the live stream than it would otherwise be. But yeah, let's get into the week 23. And that was a story of a place using only close-up details. And this is not easy to use close-up details, because of course you might not have a lens for using close-ups, and so you need to be a little bit creative if you didn't have a lens that can do close-up. But it doesn't require to be a macro lens, of course, because close-up is different than macro. And we'll get right into the images. And this one is from Martin Bracke. As you see on the top right-hand corner, you have the name, and the 02 means 2 points, and then the 001 just comes from exporting. It doesn't, look that good. And the images are as they were sent to me, except with the white borders, and I wanted to have that because of the text there. I might next time do a black border, because then there might be a better more as the images are. And I hope you don't mind that there is the white border, because it's always something that you might add to your image. But with this black background, I think this works the best. And then I also can have the name there. But yeah, this one is a really well-made close-up. It's really close to a fence. There's probably some kind of memorial thing, because there is some candles in the background, and positioning the candles right in the middle of one of the or so that you can see it through from the metal fence, and really nice details. And of course, when you're having close-ups, it means that maybe there should be some details, or that's a good thing to have some details, but of course it might not be necessary, as you will see. And the color red there also is something that makes us look at those candles a lot more. If they were white, it would be a totally different image. And I think that the contrast with the color of the metal fence is one of the things here. And composition and everything goes really well with this topic, or this idea of an image. And then there's a little almost an abstract thing. It's probably on the shore, taken very low angle by Peter Brook. And I hope I did say the name. This was Martin Bracke. Yes, I did. And it's waves that comes to the shore, and you probably have some some places where you can change your clothes when you go swimming, put on your swimming suit and stuff. And then you have a blue sky and green forest. They're a very nice looking place, and yeah, something that you really need to think about before you can make one of these images, because this is something that when you're standing on the shore, you don't see this. You need to go down and see and make the image. It's not that easy to make, and then the perfect moment to click the shutter and the foam and the structure of the grass. And on this one, I think that the shallow depth of field works very well on this particular image. Well done. Then we have Raquel Duarte. She's been doing very well on this, and this is a detail of a some kind of wall, and then some towers, some multiple exposure, or maybe I don't think it's a reflection. I think it's a multiple exposure, and very well made, visually pleasing looking image. And having the reflection type is adding to that, because without the towers, or the multiple exposure or reflections, most likely multiple exposure, the image wouldn't be anything. It would be, of course, interesting document of these tiles on a wall, but as an image for this type of thing, I don't think it would have worked. But with the towers, it gives some context. It gives a story that that what the building looks like. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm interpreting this totally the wrong way, but that's how I interpret this. And yeah, 2 points for Duarte this time for this image. Then we have this image from Stefan Kuhl. It looks like it's a steamship or something. There's some coal, and I like this image. It's a bit strange because at first you don't really know what it is. It could be a factory. Maybe it's a factory actually, not a ship. It could be anything, and that's why I think on these type of assignments, I think the little mystery of what it is really interesting. Maybe it's a little bit overexposed. The windows could have been a little bit, darker. I don't know what's outside. Maybe it's better than it's covered. I don't know. And then the texture and the direction of the light to the coal and stuff, and the red and black contrast is working on this image really well, and well seen image also. And this probably was done with a little bit longer lens than what it looks like, because the compression, the background is looking to be a little bit closer than it actually is. And then all the details in the steel beams on the top, the red steel beams, and yeah, really well made image. And then we have this image from Pete Smith. It's one of those sad things that happened in Europe way back 50, 60, 70 years ago. And it's a memorial of a Jew that was, in Auschwitz. And a really nice little detail in the city. And it's sad that we need to have this. It would have been better if this Joseph Haas could have just lived his life like he wanted to, but it seems that was not the case, and it always makes me a little sad to see these. But it's a great honor and memory to Joseph Haas, and well seen image too. Then we have this sun and the tower from Maria Cardoso, and this one I was a little bit thinking that is this a detail as it should be, but I think it is. It's a detail of a tower, because it's also proportional. What is small? It's small part of the big tower or pillar or whatever that is, and the position of the sun is just perfect. Maybe the sky could have been a little bit more punchy color. I don't know. Maybe the color contrast would have been more interesting. But anyways, you would think that these type of images are easy to make, but actually when you're looking the moon, the sun with a big lens, it actually moves quite fast, which is astonishing to get the moon, for example, or the sun positioned exactly where you want. It's not that easy. But I think this image was well made, and it's visually pleasing. I like the composition. It's a little bit off and a little bit, unbalanced, but the negative space on the right side is quite nice, and I think the unbalance of the composition makes it more interesting. Then we have this detail by Eric David, and this is an interesting door. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a door of a music studio, or maybe it's a door to a gig place or whatever. I don't know. Maybe those are bands that have been playing there, or then it's just someone is stick a sticker there, and then it's just kept on going, because if you see one sticker, there's a big chance that someone else is putting there another sticker. So that's always interesting, and you think of a story that what's behind the door, and well-made composition that Eric showed a little bit of the side there, and not only the door, but the handle is a little bit hidden, and you don't see it at first. You just looking at what it is, and then you realize that it's a door, but you don't really see it at first. You could think that it's some kind of a electric box somewhere or something, but yeah, no, it's a door because there's a handle right there. Yeah, that was interesting looking image, and I really enjoyed this image. And we have this image from Ari Tiidenberg, a nice composition, really nice scenery, and the leading lines that go out, and then I like the crop that it doesn't show too much how much water there is. Maybe there is a boat or something that he didn't want to show. But yeah, it's an interesting detail, and nice colors, and nice amount of depth of field, and so everything works on this image. Well done, Ari. Then we have this image from James Burke, and this again I was a little bit thinking that this is small, or is a detail or whatever, but I think it is. It's a nice little statue in front of a fountain, and then the couple in the back. Maybe the couple could have been a little bit on a better position, but then there is the lady with the red dress and an umbrella, and I think that kind of makes the image. It would have been even better if the two couple in the frame would not have been there, but I think it works very well like this too, because if they went there and then the lady with the red dress is outside, that is kind of a interesting thing, because you would think you would place them inside the box, but I think it works in that sense. It's a little busy in the middle, but I think it still was the second best image on this. Then we have another one that we already saw, but I think this one is a little bit better made, and it has 4 of these similar type memorials. And what makes this a little bit better than the other one is the doorway, because it's kind of a little bit open, and it's darkness, and it's very touching image, and very symbolic image, and it's just it just makes you think that much, and that's why I think this one was the best image. It's abstract, minimalistic, but yet there is still a lot in this image, but it's not in the surface, it's behind the surface, and there is a strong story in this image, and I think unfortunately it still is quite or these type of things are still happening in the world, which is a sad thing. But yeah, that was week 23. And then just before we get into week 24, a few reminder that I'm almost finished with my book about street photography. So if you're interested in that, there's a link in the description for you to take a look and see if you want to support this. It's going to be at the end of this month, most likely in early September. It's going to be a printed book, but you can already support it and get the PDF version for it. It's not totally finished yet, but you can get the part that is finished, and then you will get the full book with a little bit reduced price as a PDF. The book itself, a printed version, is not included in that. But yeah, there's a link in the description if you're interested. And then we go to week 24, which was black and white. And black and white has always been something that you guys are very good at. I remember a couple of years ago, I had a live stream about black and white, and it was such a great set of images. And I'd say that this week 24 was not much different. It was some really good photography. So if you have your image in top 10, congratulations, because I think this was one of the best overall things. I'm not sure if the best images are on this one, but the overall quality in average was really high. But let's go and see what we got. Okay, first we have this image by Richard Foucher, a very beautiful close-up and very strong image and very strong composition, and the colors and the tones and everything works on this image, and the composition is just right, not perfectly symmetrical, but a little bit offside, and I think that it made it a lot better, and enough depth of field so that you can see everything on the image. You can see the background in the back, the little, what do you call those, the little flower, part of the flower, I don't know what the word is. You can see those, the pin sharp, and then I liked a little bit of noise or some grain that's probably added in post, and I just enjoy this. This is a beautiful image. Then we have this Antonio Figueras image of maybe an office building, a concert hall, or some office building or public library or whatever. Very interesting composition and reflections there, and I like the light squares on the floor, and then the tones and everything just works. It's a simple place, a very mundane place, but probably many people walk past that every day, hundreds of people probably, and they never saw this, but I'm glad that Antonio saw this. I don't know if he's photographing here before, but it just works so well, and it's nice little abstract. It's one of those images that I could easily hang on my wall for, I just like this type of photography. Simple, quite minimalistic, even though there are a lot of things in the image, and even though this doesn't have a really big story, but it is visually really pleasing image. That's why it was top 10. Then we have this Peter Hagen made this image, a really nice portrait of a dog, and I like the kind of like the little odd shape. It looks like the nose is a little crooked because the head is in an interesting position, and I like the way that's like that really are taking my photograph. This is made me smile when I saw this, and really well made the composition. Of course, it's not that hard to make this comp, but anyways, it's nice, and the sharpness is just in the right place. You got the nose, and then the ears are sharp, but then you have some unsharpness on the body, and the background is kind of out of blur, or maybe it's just a white background, and then that's why it looks like it's out of focus, and it really well made. And what I like about it is that you can still see the dog's eyes, because sometimes when you're photographing a black dog, you don't see the eyes, but here you can clearly see it. Maybe it's done in photography, or maybe it's just perfect image editing, but I really enjoy this image. It's a nice portrait of a dog. Then we have this image by Bill Landon. Great light on this image, and I really enjoy the clouds and there's a lot of movement. You go in with the fence, and then you see this big barn, and then you have the clouds on the top, and it's just visually really pleasing, and I like the high contrast and the grain on the image. It fits on this. This would probably be nothing in color, even though usually if you have an image that works in black and white, it usually works in color too, but sometimes it might not be that the case, and I think this is one of those that in color this would have been just a postcard, but with this it's more of art, I would say, and probably if there was some kind of a filter, because there is a slight halo type mist filter vibe to this image, or an infrared vibe too. So it's really well made image, and usually this type of light where you have really harsh light is not a good time to photograph, but for this type of images it's just perfect, because you got really strong light and strong shadows and really high contrast. It works really well. Then we have this image from Johannes Örtner, which is a hilarious image, and it looks like it's winter time, even though it's probably not. It's just overexposed the sea back there, and this is probably early morning when people came to, or before they come to the beach and open the sunshades or sun umbrellas, or what do you call those? And then you can always think that they are, people with some, capes on or something, and they are just marching towards the water. This is really hilarious image, and I like that it's not taken straight from the middle one, because you can see the other ones behind it, so it's not taken right there in the middle. I think this slight off is a lot better than making the image straight from the middle one. And yeah, and all the the benches and the tables and the structures, and makes it a little nice rhythm, and then the top part really minimalistic and works well with black and white. Then we have this portrait by Cliff Collins, really good attitude with the girl, or the girl has a good attitude, and looking straight at camera, and really knowing who she is, and really confident looking, and it's like I'm here, and I know what I'm doing, I'm good, and really big confidence, and I like the hair that comes like this, because sometimes people just want to do too polished, and I like the background too, with the brick walls and the plywood things that are covering the windows, and all that. I think it works really well, and well made composition, and the light too. If you look at the light, that you have a little shadow on the other side, on the cheek that is towards the camera. That usually gives the model more kind of 3D vibes when the shadow part, or the shadow like this, when the shadow is in closer to the camera. That usually works better that way. Well done, Cliff. Then we have this image from Ari Tidenberg, who has been doing so far quite well. And I think I know this place. I think it's an island in front of Helsinki, which is a kind of like an outdoor museum, where they have brought all these old farm buildings into Helsinki from the countryside in Finland. The buildings represent different eras of the buildings, and they're good cafeterias and summer theaters and beaches and stuff. It's a really nice island called Seurasaari. I think it's there. If I'm wrong, then it's what it looks like that. And I like the gelato place, and kind of like, it looks like it's kind of like Asian. It's not in use, but probably it is. And perfect timing with the shutter and the legs and everything. The girl is looking, and then you have the stripes in the pants and the stripes in the ice cream kiosk or gelato kiosk, and the building from way back in the back there. Well made composition. Then we have this from Eric David, a cool place to photograph. I like the shape, and when it goes like this and then turns, and then you have another shape there, and then you got the light and the shadow play, and then the lights on the side. It's a cool underpassage, and a perfect time to click the shadow where the leg is just hitting the ground, and maybe the head is a little bit down. It's probably somebody coming from work, and is a little tired and just wants to go home, and is in his own world, thinking about something, hopefully thinking about what he's going to do tonight, or maybe he has some problems at work and he wanted to think of those. That's what comes to my mind on this. And I like that there are a few cars there that kind of gives some more depth, so it gives another layer there, that there are some cars there, and I don't know, this probably would be interesting also in color. I don't know what color that is. That could be very colorful, but this way I think the black and white, the attention is more on the walking man there. Well done, Eric. Then we have Maria Viegas. Beautiful image and document of something that happens on a beach, an interesting looking beach with a castle right next to it. And these guys are playing some ball in the beach, and he's throwing the ball, the guy in the front, and then the other one is catching, is playing the goalie, and then there's a little guy who is don't know if he's playing with them or is he just, you know, wanting to play with him and is looking that they're having fun and he wants to be there too. And usually when you have three elements, like the little boy and then the guy who was throwing the ball and then the one who's catching, and then you have the ball kind of like a force. You have a kind of like a triangle, and then you go around like this when you're looking at the image. The only small thing is that the guy who was throwing the ball, his head is kind of blending in with the shadow of the castle. But that's just a minor little thing, which is of course something that if you could avoid it, then do it. But I know these situations you don't see that. It's impossible. You just want to take the image because I think it's otherwise a perfect composition and the perfect timing to click the shutter. It's a beautiful image. Then we have this from Wilfred Abernathy. Simple, beautiful image that raises a lot of questions. And what's going on? Is the concert over? Is she waiting for the concert, or is she thinking that what is happening there, and what is the tent and the layers on this image? You got the front, then you have the bench and the lady on the bench, and then you have some pathway there, two little hills and then trees, and then you've got the tent in the middle, and then you have something in the back. You got a road that goes to the back there, and there's a lot of layers in this image, and really enjoyed this calmness and ease of this image. Really well done, Wilfred. And then that was week 25. And then before we get into week 26, week 25, that was 24, go to week 25. A few words about the Urban Street Narratives workshop that we're having with Matti Solanto, Robin Wong, and myself in Kuala Lumpur on March 30th until April 3rd in 2026. And you can click the link in the description and see if that's something for you. And you know, it's a week of photography, and usually what the problem with many is that they don't have time to photograph. But if you get a vacation for 1 week and just concentrate on photography, that could be a really huge boost on your photography, because you can concentrate on that, and you kind of like the rest of the life is put aside for a little while, for a week, and that's really a genuine thing to do. And what's good about this workshop is that there are 3 of us instructing, not only my what I think about things, but also what Matti and Robin thinks, because we all think a little bit different, even though we kind of agree and understand what we all do, but we still have a little bit different style, and that's a big bonus, having 3 instructors. And also what's good about it is that there's going to be 24 participants, which means that you got 23 others to kind of like talk to, and they give you feedback, and you know, it's going to be wonderful. I can't wait to be there, and to be honest, can't wait to see you there too. So if you're interested, click the link in the description and see if that is something for you. But let's get into the next one. And again, I messed with the text. I should use a little bit smaller font. This is something small, a detail, something small that you have been photographing. And this one also was a little hard, and there were a lot of good images, but also maybe not so good images. But it's no one can get 52 bangers for this type of. So sometimes it goes like this a little bit, and sometimes a little higher and sometimes a little lower. But you know, when I go out, sometimes I don't get any keepers. So it's just normal. So don't worry if you felt that this was something that you kind of didn't do that well. But let's start with the top 10 images, or well, that's the only thing we have, top 10 images for this. Andrea Barroso's image, a close-up of maybe some old books or leather, but it looks like some books, and very beautiful color tones and the light, and you can see the structure and really good detail on this. And what I especially like is the top page is how it's going, you know, kind of like off, and it kind of breaks the balance of the image in a good way. And there's so much interesting thing, and again, not really a big story in the image, except you might think that what the book is about and who's read it, and or is it even a book, or is it just some wood or something? I don't know. Actually, it could be wood, to be honest. Not really sure what it is, but it is a very interesting image anyways, a very pleasing looking image. Then we have this close-up, almost a macro shot of some insect by Martin Bracke, and beautiful image. And this is something that I always admire that people can do this, because I'm not very keen on doing macro. I did some macro when I was an Home System Ambassador and Olympus Visionary. I did some macro photography because it was a good system for macro, but I never really, got the hang of it, and somehow it wasn't something that I really enjoy, and that's why I really admire these type of images. They look beautiful, and they show us the world that we can't really see, and most of us don't even know exist. Of course, we know that there are insects and and flowers and stuff, but the what they look like when you really see them close up, that most of us don't know. And sorry, I don't know what these insects are, or what this insect or these flowers. I'm really bad at that type of stuff. But yeah, a beautiful image and well-made composition. And I kind of like the background, that it's split. It's a little bit odd, but in a good way, it makes the image a lot better than you have the white side and then you got the darker side, and it looks interesting. Whoops, sorry, wrong button. We should go here. And Bill Langdon made this image, and I don't know what these are. Maybe there are some seeds or something, and really well made image. I'm not really sure if this is the top one, the sharp one, is on a piece of glass, and then you have the same stuff underneath, out of focus, and it's a beautiful image that I don't really know what it is, but it doesn't matter because it looks good. And it's well executed, a really well thought image too, and the composition on this one, the almost symmetry works really well. I don't know if he's made this a little bit off balance. I hope it's intentional, because it's better this way. Well done, Bill. Then we have this image from Peter Tindley. It looks like, for me, first what I looked at it, that it is an old CD that has some water bubbles or some oil on it, and then it's lit with the small LED, because you can see the LED lights on the reflections of the bubbles. But I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe it's just a glass window or something. But there's something odd about, because the shape of the balls, they are round, even though they go further away. So I really don't know what's going on, and that's why it's really interesting. And of course, the color is beautiful. We got some purple color or magenta color on the back, and then you have green on the front, really intensive green, and that works well on this image. Quite nice. Then we have this from Margaret Wong. Again, no idea what it is. Maybe it's some kind of a bracelet or some jewelry, or no idea what it is. But it looks really interesting, and I like the shapes. And what I like about this too is the shallow depth of field, because that kind of blur makes a blur and kind of makes some kind of a frame when it's blurry around the middle subject. And again, the colors, the composition, and also like the highlights, the sparkling highlights, almost sparkling. If you see on the right side, you got like almost sparkling bubbles there, and and then of course, I don't know, no slightest clue what it is, but it doesn't matter because it's visually looks good. That's what this kind of assignment was a little bit about. And then another great macro shot of an insect on a leaf, and this is a little bit underexposed in my. I would have just made it a little bit brighter. I think it would have been slightly better that way, but it still works quite well because of the intense green color when it's a little bit darker, and also like the composition, so that there is on the left hand corner there is the leaf, so that it kind of frames the thing. It doesn't, our eyes doesn't wander away from the screen, and a perfect composition. And I like the so that it's right there in the middle, because the leaf just breaks it, so it's not a totally symmetrical. And then some layers, you can see that there are some other leaves in the background, and then you have some darkness, which is probably the ground, or just because the leaves are blocking the light. That could be it. But yeah, again, great use of depth of field on this one too. And another one, Ari Tiedenberg, who's been doing quite well this week. I think his third image already. And a beautiful macro of a something on a something. Sorry, I'm a total loser with these terms, and I don't even know them in Finnish. So I don't know them in English. I just enjoy the images. I like the colors, the color palette on this, the blues and the magentas, the yellows, the greens, and whatnot colors. It's a beautiful image. And again, the depth of field works really well. You really get the attention on the top there, on where it should be. And a dreamy effect also a little bit, because the colors are a little bit blending on top of each other and creating a different color. And really beautiful image. Then this Pete Smith's image, which made me smile. I really enjoyed, and I wonder what these things are. I've never seen these type of things on a beer before. I don't know if he made this thing, or did he get the beer like this, or what. This is so much fun to look at this image, and well seen image, and thought image too, with the blurry background in some park, maybe outdoors having and you can really see that it's a cold beer, because you got the bubbles and some it's not fog, but you know what I mean, the thing when happens when you have a cold drink and a little bit warmer water, what happens to the surface of the glass. Yes, works really well, and the composition and everything, just real nice. And then this clever image by Christine Barnes, and there is some Legos there, and then she has a camera with some maybe a macro lens or something, a little telephoto macro maybe, and there is this Lego figure there. And then what I really like, that there's no card in the camera. It's a good thing that Christina, that you used the other camera making this image. And then there's a castle, maybe it's in Legos too, or something, and really clever image, and it's kind of like an image in an image, and just a clever idea. That's why it was so high up on this particular assignment. Then we have this Ian Wade's image of a needle and some now I lost the word, but anyways, and the colors are really beautiful. You got yellow, red, green, and blue, and all those major colors, and close up, and really perfect composition, perfect mid focus, and you got this blur in the background, so that the needle comes out really well, and you can see the red, whatever that is. I'm sorry that I'm a little rusty with the words today, but you can see the texture and everything, and that's always something that you want to see in an image, that is this close up. Well done, Ian, sorry. Then week 26, time passing. And this was a little tricky because it says time passing in one image, and you can interpret it with one image, or you can interpret it with multiple exposures or something that are still in one image. So that hopefully wasn't too confusing, because when I saw some of the images, I was thinking, okay, wait a minute, one image, but then I realized, but it is a one image. It doesn't say that you could stack several images together. So I hope this did not make anyone kind of like feel that they would have had an idea if they had thought of this. But yeah, this is something that I interpreted this. Start with this image with made by Cliff Collins, and he actually was in Finland, because this one's taken in Tampere. I can recognize the place. It's a city about 2-hour drive north from Helsinki. And there he is looking at, and time is passing. And I know that he's been living there. That's probably a symbolism that he also tells this story. And I know this might be a little bit unfair, but I know that he's been living there, and that's kind of he's in the picture, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And he's looking at the times passing, and then the trams is actually brand new. They just built it in there for a couple of years only, and then people walking past, and the passing of time is the moving tram. That's how I interpret this image. Maybe Cliff could tell some other story. Then we have this Richard Faucher's Star Trail image. I thought that there would be more of these, but not too many. And I'm glad, because yeah, it is a really nice image, and not that easy to make, even though it looks quite easy. But you really need to set it up and know where to point your camera and how and what the exposure will be. And this most likely made with live composite, which is a very good feature in Olympus and OM System cameras, and I did my share of these type of images when I was photographing a little bit different stuff than I do now, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun and not that easy. And what's really important on this image is that you have the trees in the front to give some depth and texture. If it was just the sky, it probably would have been not that good. But this way, I think it is a lot better. Well done, Richard. And we have this Johannes Artner, who's also been doing quite well this month. These two bananas, and a great way to make the passing of time. And they're kind of holding each other. It's like there's a lot of symbolism. The younger banana is, maybe grieving because the other one is getting older. I don't know. There's so much in this image. I think it's a little bit, maybe the look of the image is a little bit dull with the simple background and everything. But yeah, I think it's well thought anyways, and the idea of the symbolism and all that. I think it's a great image. And we have this from Ian Wade. He also had a few images in top 10. And this image where probably he's looking, or I don't know who it is, because I don't know Ian, so I don't know if that's him or not, but the person is looking at himself when he was younger. A little bit cliche, but I think it worked really well on this image. It's well-made image too, and I kind of like that there's some blue on the frame of the image that kind of adds to the image. And what I like also is that they kind of are looking at each other in the eye, and somehow the position of the man and how he is kind of a little nostalgic, and he thinks that, oh, those were the good old days, and I think not saying that life is over, but it's still probably on the how would I say that, so that when life is divided, so it's the latter part of the life. And yeah, a bit cliche, as I said, but it works well and makes you think quite a bit. And that's why I think it made, or don't think, but that's why it's made top 10. And Margaret Wong, this is also something that I thought there would be more. There were a few others, if I remember correctly. And this one, again, a little bit similar as the bananas, a little bit different way made image, but the same idea that there's the flower that's gone, and then there is the one that it's still there, and the colors and beautifully lit. And usually, as I said many times, I don't like black backgrounds that much, but on this one I think it kind of works. It kind of makes the flowers and the colors pop a little bit. Yeah, Antonio Figueroa's image, and this was actually when I was looking, I liked the image a lot because of the guy in the car is looking at that. There's an eye contact with the photographer, even though probably the guy is looking at the girl on the bike, and the little guy is looking at Antonio when he's taking the image. And this is probably a multiple exposure or some image blending or something because of the thing. And this image actually made me think that one image, but yeah, it is one image. There is no several images. And then John Sustain's image with the saxophonist, and the time is passing, old time music, probably people are walking, they're not really paying attention. And the what do you call now I lost the word again, the motion blur. Yeah, that's the word, the motion blur. And then I liked about the yellow lady in the front, or in the middle there, almost in the middle, yellow dress lady. It would have been a little bit better if that part was a little bit darker. It's a little bit too bright. It's slightly overexposed, but darkening that side a little bit would have made it even better, the image. And I like the composition, the position where there is the leading lines and all that works beautifully. Yeah, well done, John. Then we have this image from Raquel Duarte, a spinning image. There's probably a double exposure because she did double exposure image. Another assignment on this one too, and then having rotating the camera like this and then positioning the clock right in the middle works really well. Of course, clock time passing and all that stuff, it works. And then you have people on the circle, and time is flying and all that. There's a lot of things just you could say about this image. And not sure about the black and white. Maybe color could have been even more chaotic, but maybe she wanted this to be black and white because of the thing that it would have been too chaotic, the image in color. I'm not sure. But yeah, I try sometimes to turn the camera like this. You get really interesting looking images. There might be several images on this. I'm not sure because they are on that side. On the right side, the people are surprisingly sharp. Maybe there is several images. And also what I like about it is that looks like there is a tower in the middle where people are walking on. Or maybe it is the floor like that. I don't know, but I don't know if that's the case, but it looks really interesting and well-made image, and a lot of things that comes to my mind. Then we have another image that I was thinking, is this one image? But yeah, triptych is one image. And the passing of time. Don't know how much time it took Peter to drink his Guinness. No idea. But yeah, it's well made. It's full and half full, and then it's empty. And yeah, and I like the color contrast also on this. But actually, when you look at the shadow, it didn't take that long, to be honest. Yeah. Well, now I just realized that he probably did it like that, and that's it. Well, that's one way of doing it. But yeah, it's a clever idea, a simple idea, and probably thought of it at the spot, or I don't know, maybe he went for a Guinness just to get this stuff, but it was worth it anyways. And then this Alison Caviezel's image about passing time, and this is a lot of symbolism here. And there are so many layers to this image. You got the couple with the little girl, or the little girl, I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, but a little baby. First time probably being on the beach and getting the feet on the sand and stuff. And then you have another lady with a kid that is a bit older. So there is the symbolism that these two with the baby are those two people in the future, probably, hopefully three, but they show only two here. And I think the colors and the mood and everything, there's so much symbolism in this image that's the reason it's on this best image of this. Here are the 4 best images. This is interesting because 2 black and white, 2 colorful images, which are with the similar color palettes. And I think that was just a coincidence. And then we have the best image was this with the full story and a lot of stories in the image. So 4 sad real stories, and then we can make up our own stories on top of that. And then before we get into the points, a few words about Picdrop, which is a place where I will upload after this has been public, day or two after. I will send the images to Picdrop or upload them, and there's the place for you to take a look at all the images, and you have the password in the newsletter about the 52 assignments. It's not a public gallery, just for you guys to take a look at the images. And I hope you enjoy, and you can comment them and like them, and discuss the images. And it's fun to see what else images. And of course, as I say, when I pick the images, it's my views at the time when I pick them. Maybe another day would be slightly different. It depends on so many things, because it's so hard to think which image is the best. And you probably would have picked something else, and it's always interesting to hear. So if you have some comment about that, just make a few comments about that and see if you agree with me or not. I really enjoy if you don't, because then there is a discussion. And then this is the June assignment total points. And Johannes Ortner got 20 points, Tiedenberg Ari 17, and Ian Wade got 14. And then again, place 4 was 2, because they got all 13 points. So that's why there are more than 10 people in top 10. And then we have one more thing, and this is the thing, or the and then we have one more thing. This is the total points after June's, and actually that is, if I'm not mistaken, that's halfway. So we got Raquel Duarte again, or still in the lead with, to be honest, a little bit of a lead. And then we got Paulo Guerra, Johannes Ortner, Wilfred Scheisse, Patrick Vandenberg, who did very well last week. And then we got Ari Tiedenberg, Diana Tays, Christina Barnes, Richard Foucher, and Pete Smith. So now we got only one per each position this time. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this live stream, which was, recorded like I would do a live stream. And next time I try to make a real live stream if everything works, because I don't know what has been so hard for me with the live streams, because shouldn't be a rocket science, but I just somehow I just can't figure out what's been wrong with this. Now I've been using StreamYard so that it's a little bit easier to use and more reliable and all that. But as I said, the images are in a couple of days. I will upload them to Picdrop, and you can take a look at all the images that were sent. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.